so we're out here this afternoon and we're going to be blanching our broccoli that we picked to preserve it and put it in the freezer. So I'm just going to show you, I talked about this before on another video, but today I'm actually going to show you doing it and the steps. So our friend from church gave us some broccoli and we have some from our own garden that we picked last night. So what we do first is take off all the leaves and the excess parts that you don't want or that may have gotten brown or are not good. So we put all that into a bucket. And we just have our good pieces that we want to eat. And we rinse them off already in the sink to start with before we put them in our first step, which is boiling water. So, okay, so we're going to put these pieces in the boiling water. And we're doing this outside today because it's hot today. We don't really want to make the house hotter. But be careful because it's hot water. So a couple more little pieces could probably fit. Now they're going to go in there for about a minute. I don't time it. I just let it be. So turn it up a little bit now, because once you put the broccoli in it, it stops boiling, right? But it's still hot. So okay. Now here at our farm, though, all those excess pieces and everything, and when we do our cabbage and whatever we do, fruit, vegetables, any inner parts we don't eat, outside parts we don't eat, bad parts we don't eat, always goes to our animals. So we have rabbits, we have guinea pigs, we have goats, we have chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, you name it, we have it. So everything here on our farm will get eaten by somebody or something at one point in time. So that's really good. So okay, so now we have this about ready to go. Now after this step, because you don't want to cook it before you freeze it, you're just trying to preserve the good stuff, the color, the antioxidants, the things like that, to go to still be in it while it freezes until you're ready to eat it. So now it's good. It stays bright green like you can tell. So we're going to put it in the ice cold water to stop the cooking process. And then after this, it'll go in the freezer bags and into the freezer. So it helps the flavor too, keeps the flavor in, keeps all the good stuff. It gets the worms out. So there you go, there's a worm. Sometimes our worms do get in the freezer, so it's not a big deal. They're not going to hurt you. Just throw them out. If sometimes they get in the freezer with the broccoli when you cook it the next when you eat it, I mean, if you accidentally eat a worm, it won't hurt you. If you see a worm, just get it out. It's going to be dead by that time. So, but this also helps get the worms out of the broccoli, because broccoli is a really big thing with getting worms, right? Because look, I mean, you can see all of them are coming out actually. I mean, they're actually everywhere in this broccoli. So, you know, blanching it also helps the worms get out of it. So, some are bigger than others, some are littler than others. So, but like I said, it's not like they're going to hurt you necessarily, but some people don't like worms in their food. So you don't have to worry about it though when you blanch. It'll get them out. Okay, so some of them stick onto the broccoli though. Hard to get the broccoli without the worm. I really should probably have a bigger spoon, but I don't really have that many slotted spoons that are really nice size, so this one is working. It's a big piece. Oh, see that worm? It does not want to come off. See it? It won't get off of that broccoli. But be careful because it is kind of hot. So this broccoli has a lot of little worms. Okay, now we have one more piece in here. Okay, now what we're going to have to do, so this is, because we're not doing this inside, so I don't have the sink with the cold water, this is how to use a bowl. So this is full now, so I'm going to have to kind of wait a minute, and, well, I mean, I would put some in here, but I guess I could. I just don't want it to be, I don't know how quick I am now to put that in the bag. So if you're quick, you can do it. I'll try to be quick. Otherwise, it might cook the broccoli a little bit. But yeah, okay. So while I'm doing this, I have a good story to tell. So this has happened to us yesterday. So this is kind of like a testimony. It's not like a humongous one, but I tell you, God had His hand in it. So what happened was that yesterday I was over there taking care of one of our rabbits, and okay, so now you just put it in the bag. So now it's cooled down, so it's not going to be hot. So that's why I can touch it now. It won't hurt me. So anyway, so I was over there taking care of one of our rabbits, and his name is Clifford, and he's a big red rabbit. So we named him Clifford. And he lives by himself because he's the male rabbit, and they don't like to live with other male rabbits. And our little rabbits that are here on the back deck, we don't know if they are male or female yet. So he was happy just kind of, living over there. So yesterday though, when I went to check on him, and feed him, he was not really acting normal. Head was tilted to one side, and he was not being able to walk well. He was on one side heavy, and he was going in circles, and he was just not acting weird, right? Or he was acting weird, I mean. And so I told my husband, I said, what? I think this is not good. I think it looks like he had a stroke, because that's common. Not common, but it does happen to animals. It has happened to our turkeys before. And of course, with the stroke, it's like one side, right? It doesn't work anymore. So that's what we thought. So we're really sad, and we're like, oh man, we're just gonna have to help, kind of dispatch him, because he's gonna have to, he probably is suffering, right? Because he really wasn't eating or drinking and stuff like that. So then I brought him in the house to separate him and to, kind of help him out. And so then Hannah, our daughter, she said, Mom, I read a book. One of my books that I read is about, she has a book that's about, animal rescue, right? It's not a true story book, but, it's based on true stories, or true stuff a little bit. Anyway, so she said a story in there was a rabbit, and it was doing the same thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is so weird, Hannah. And I was like, well, go look in that book and find out what was wrong with that rabbit, right? Because maybe, it would be the same thing as happening to Clifford. So she goes and she finds that book, and she reads that part of it again. And then she comes to me and she's like, Mom, she's like, that rabbit, they said, has an ear infection. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is so interesting. I never would have thought about thinking that that's what the problem was. So I looked up rabbit ear infections on the phone, and his symptoms, what he was doing, were exactly the same thing as the symptoms of when a rabbit has an ear infection. So honestly, I was like, Hannah, you literally just saved Clifford's life. I mean, honestly, because my husband was about to do away with him to put him out of his misery, and he never had even had a stroke. So God had His hand in that, I mean, tenfold over, definitely through Hannah, saved Clifford's life. So now we have him ear infection medicine and cleaner, and we have him in the house to keep him clean and help him, and we're going to give him the medicine, and he is going to get well again. So we say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for having your hand in that we didn't have to lose our rabbit. And the kids are really happy too. So that's just amazing. Even the smallest details, the minutest details that you wouldn't think God would care about, He cares about for His children, because He wants His children to be happy. And if we are trusting and obeying in Him, which my family is learning to do that more and more every day of our lives, we ask Him to help us trust and obey Him more and more, and He does, of course. And then, wonderful, wonderful outcome from that. So, okay, so now I'm almost done here. I'm probably going to need that water's kind of getting not cold, so in a minute I'm going to have to switch it out for colder water. But first we will finish this up. Alright, so There's our last batch in the hot water into the cold water. And I was just going to mention a quick note about why we were having so many worms in our broccoli, because some people might say, goodness, why do you have so many worms coming out of your broccoli? Well, here at our farm, and I'm pretty sure about our neighbor's farm because they gave us some of this broccoli, that we do not like to use chemicals, right? We want to stay as chemical free as possible. So, of course, if you were to eat a worm, it wouldn't hurt you. But if you eat chemicals, that will definitely hurt you. And it may make the broccoli look prettier, but guess what? Your nutrition and your side effects and things that could happen to you over time are not great, right? They're harmful. So, it's okay to eat a worm once in a while if you have nice, fresh, natural broccoli. Alright, well, let me just get this done here, and then, a little baby worm in that one. But if you know you see the worms, you just pick them off. Really not going to hurt anything. There's a, that one was hot. Alright. Alright, well, let me get this done and I'll be right back to show you the bags. Alright, so we got it all in the hot water, the cold water, and into the freezer bags, and we ended up with 11 quart bags full of our broccoli to save, freeze, to enjoy this winter. So, thanks for watching, and try it out if you'd like to, and leave me a comment if you do. We love comments, and it helps us out, and subscribe also, please, because that really helps us out too, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye.